Once upon a time, Italy had too many strikers to fit in one squad. Now, they're calling up kids with 0 goals and hoping for miracles. What happened to the land of Inzaghi, Totti, and Vieri? Stick around till the end. Because this isn't just about goals. It's about a haunting collapse no one saw coming. And it's far from over. When Harry Kane tucked away his second goal against Italy under the Wembley lights, he wasn't just securing another England victory. He was holding up a mirror to a crisis that Italy, once the temple of striking greatness, can no longer ignore. 61 goals and counting for Harry Kane. Meanwhile, Italy's top scorers in that matchday squad, Nicolo Barella and Domenico Berardi, had barely managed 16 between them. And let's not forget, Berardi had just padded his tally with 2 goals against Malta, a team Italy should beat in their sleep. But Italy aren't sleeping. They're wide awake, staring at the ceiling in the dead of night, wondering what happened. This is a nation that once overflowed with center forwards. It wasn't just a role, it was a tradition. A sacred torch passed from Paolo Rossi to Roberto Baggio, from Christian Vieri to Filippo Inzaghi, from Francesco Totti to Alessandro Del Piero. Now the torch is flickering, handed not to a gladiator, but to Gianluca Scamacca, a striker whose most recent club season saw him manage just 3 goals in 16 games for West Ham United. His tap-in against England? That was his first international goal. 13th cap, 13 games, 1 goal. Behind him in the pecking order, you'll find Giacomo Raspadori, who plays second fiddle to Victor Osimhen at Napoli. There's Moise Kean, once hailed as a future, now a wandering soul who has barely mustered 37 career league goals. Andrea Bellotti and Ciro Immobile, once brimming with potential, are aging ships that never quite found steady wind on the international seas. Even at their peak, they failed to replicate club brilliance for the Azzurri. It's gotten so bleak that Roberto Mancini, the man who once critiqued Antonio Conte for calling up players born outside Italy, pinned his hopes on Matteo Retegui, an Argentine who had never played a minute of Serie A football but held an Italian passport thanks to his grandparents. In 2023, Mancini fielded Simone Profundi, a 16-year-old from Udinese who, to this day, has not scored a single goal in senior football. He has played just 10 senior matches. That's not a criticism of Profundi. He's still a boy, but a painful snapshot of the lengths to which Italy are now stretching. Even stranger was a rumor that Andrea Campagno, a 27-year-old who once played amateur football in San Marino and now suits up for a Romanian side, was being considered for a national call-up. That's not scraping the barrel. That's digging a hole underneath it. So how did we get here? How did a nation that once benched Francesco Totti and Filippo Inzaghi at major tournaments because they had too many elite options fall into this chasm? It's easy to blame modern football. Many do. The traditional number 9, the poacher, has become an endangered species. But Italy's crisis is deeper than that. It's not just tactical, it's spiritual. Center forwards used to be the crown jewels of Italian football. Filippo Inzaghi was one such jewel. He wasn't pretty, he wasn't elegant, but he scored. Always. Johan Cruyff once said Inzaghi couldn't actually play football. He was just always in the right place. Meant as an insult, delivered as a prophecy. Inzaghi didn't care. He scored over 300 goals across club and country. He thrived in a system that was built around his hunger. But modern managers demand more. Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, even Luciano Spalletti. These are men who want their forward to press, to drop deep, to pass, to rotate, to be midfielders and wingers and defenders all at once. They want elegance and industry. The scrappy predator? He's a relic. And so, Inzaghi's spiritual descendants are exiled before they even step onto the pitch. Spain may have started this fire when they won Euro 2012 with no striker at all, using Cesc Fabregas in a false 9 role. They didn't just beat Italy 4-0. They rewrote the footballing blueprint. Everyone wanted to copy them, and in the process, the world stopped raising number 9s. Children no longer dream of being Paolo Rossi. They want to be Kylian Mbappe, or Jude Bellingham, or Pedri. The position of striker, once the pedestal of dreams, now sits empty. This shift isn't unique to Italy. England, France, Germany, every footballing power has felt the drought. But Italy's famine is the most severe and the most baffling. In World Cup qualifying for Qatar 2022, Italy had 178 shots in 9 games. They scored 13 goals. That's an average of nearly 20 shots per goal. The highest scorers? Moise Kean, Ciro Immobile, and Giovanni Di Lorenzo, a fullback, 2 goals each. They didn't just underperform. They barely registered. They didn't qualify for the World Cup. Again, this isn't a glitch. It's a pattern. Even at Euro 2020, where Italy triumphed, no player scored more than 2 goals. The trophy came not through firepower, but cohesion, grit, and a midfield that danced like painters. They won, yes, but even then, the striker was a ghost. Go back further. Simone Zaza, Graziano Pelle, Manolo Gabbiadini. These were the names Italy hung their hopes on. It got so bad that Dani Osvaldo, born and raised in Argentina, was hailed as a messiah after 2 decent seasons at Roma. He retired at 30 to pursue a music career, having scored 4 goals in 14 caps. And somehow, that still ranks as a respectable return in this era of despair. There have been flickers. Giuseppe Rossi could have been something. Mario Balotelli could have been everything. At Euro 2012, he looked like a force of nature. But Mario Balotelli's career burned bright and fast, and then the fire flickered out. He remains the highest peak an Italian striker has hit in the past 15 years, and that peak came over a decade ago. The numbers don't lie. Last season in Serie A, not one Italian striker finished among the top 7 scorers. Nigerians, Argentines, Senegalese, Portuguese, French, Angolans, they led the charts. Only Domenico Berardi and Ciro Immobile cracked the top 10. And even they were tied with a Georgian, a Paraguayan, and another Argentine. This season, the trend continues. Only one Italian. Again, Berardi makes the top 5. One player, one hope. And here lies another dagger, the growth decree, an economic policy meant to lure skilled foreign workers to Italy with favorable tax incentives. Inter Milan used it to bring in Benjamin Pavard and Marcus Thuram. AC Milan used it for Christian Pulisic and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. These players were cheaper for the clubs than signing equally talented Italians. And so the doors flung open, not just to a few stars, but to waves of foreign attackers. Italian youngsters watched, benched, and waited. They're still waiting. In England, a similar crisis was addressed with long-term vision. The elite player performance plan, the homegrown player rule, and blast of qualified coaches, and a revival of academy systems. Now Harry Kane, Ivan Toney, Ollie Watkins, and Callum Wilson fill the ranks. In Serie A, that revival hasn't happened. If anything, it's moving in reverse. The league itself, once the envy of Europe, has fallen from its throne. Calciopoli, financial mismanagement, the allure of the Premier League and La Liga. Serie A is no longer a proving ground. It's a shadow of its former self. And even in that weakened state, Italian strikers can't rise. Look beyond the senior team. Look at the youth. Italy's under 21s, under 20s, under 19s. Goals are rare. True strikers rarer still. There's one exception. One name. Francesco Camarda, a boy of 15, already scoring for AC Milan's youth teams, already playing above his age group for Italy. But placing national hopes on a child isn't a solution. It's desperation wearing a mask. And haven't we done this before? Pietro Pellegrini debuted at 15, signed for Monaco at 16, scored 2 goals in 4 years. Now back in Serie A, barely visible. Lorenzo Luca, touted as the next big thing after a breakout in Serie C. He's still waiting for a senior cap. And Moise Kean? He had it all, pace, strength, flair, but something's missing. Something that won't appear on a stat sheet. Call it discipline, or evolution, or fate. Whatever it is, it's kept him from becoming what Italy needed him to be. There's a theory, a haunting one, that Italy's golden generation of strikers unalived the next generation by existing. Gianluigi Buffon, Andrea Pirlo, Giorgio Chiellini, those were the national idols for a decade. Not forwards, not firebrands. Children grew up wanting to save goals, not score them. And so now, Italy has Federico Chiesa and Nicolo Barella. Talents, yes, but they are not center forwards. They are not the missing piece. Christian Vieri, who once terrified defenders across Europe, has his own theory. It's video games. Kids these days don't play in the streets, he says. They sit on their iPads. But kids have iPads in England, in France, in Brazil, and they still find ways to score. Maybe Vieri is nostalgic. Maybe he's right. Or maybe, just maybe, the system is broken. The final insult is this. Gigi Riva, a man who last played in the 1970s, remains Italy's all-time leading scorer. 35 goals. No one has touched him. Not Francesco Totti. Not Alessandro Del Piero. Not Christian Vieri. Not Ciro Immobile. The list of active players on Italy's top 10 goal scorers? Non-existent. You have to scroll down to 17th place to find Ciro Immobile with 17 goals. This isn't a slump. It's a collapse. A slow-burning tragedy. The kind that sneaks up until it's too late. Italy used to fear no one. Now they fear North Macedonia. They used to bench superstars. Now they beg semi-professionals. They used to create art. Now they chase shadows. And so the question returns like a ghost at the end of every match. Where will the goals come from? Until Italy finds the answer, the torch of the number 9 will remain unlit. And the Azzurri, once kings of the world, will keep wandering the pitch in search of something that may never return. Is Italy's striker crisis a result of modern tactics, or a broken system beyond repair? Can a new number 9 truly rise from the ashes, or are the golden days gone for good? Who do you think can bring back the firepower? Drop your answers in the comments. We're watching, and if you believe football history deserves to be remembered, subscribe now. More stories await.